I want to thank you for being here. I know that you have other things you could be doing, so thank you for taking the time out of your day. My commitment to you is that the time that we have together here is valuable for you and it makes a difference in your trading. From Day Trade Like a Pro's standpoint, that's why we're here doing this. I also want to thank NinjaTrader because without them, this is not happening. We love using NinjaTrader, phenomenal platform. And then also for our community at Day Trade Like a Pro, a number of you are here. Thank you. Day Trade Like a Pro would not be what it is without you, and we will talk a little bit about that as we get going here. I will briefly tell you just a little bit about me. I started trading futures in 2006. I started on the Russell 2000 back when it was on CME. It got sold to ICE. I found out really quickly that I was not actually a trader. Since that time, have learned to, I think, in a sense, master trading the S&P 500. It's definitely what I focus on. I've spent every day basically since that time trading the S&P 500. I'll trade other indexes at times, but that's for sure what I specialize in. It's the biggest, it's the most volume. It's where the most institutional money is traded, and it fits the way that I like to trade, so that works for me. Today, we're going to talk about the three most important factors for success in any market, how to identify key levels in the market where pros are likely to engage with the market. And I say that because if you think about who you want on the other side of your trade, when you're putting on a short or you're putting on a long position, somebody's taking the other side of that. You really don't want that to be a professional trader in most cases. So you really want to trade where the pros are trading alongside with them, not be on the other side of their trades. We're going to talk about a systematic approach to identify the best levels and the probabilities of that working. And then we're going to talk about adapting your trade management to the market conditions. So what a lot of traders try to do is they try to have this sort of one size fits all approach. And they say, I'm always going to do this or I'm never going to do that. You know, how do you trade a day? We'll talk S&P today, but how do you trade a day where it's a 15-point range? How do you trade that the same as a day where there's a 90 or 100-point range? You just can't treat those days the same. But I suspect that a lot of traders don't have the ability or the tools to know which day we're in until it's probably too late. So we're going to talk a bit about that as well. Again, I thank you for being here. And as a thank you for being here, we're actually going to do a couple of things at the end of the webinar today. If you stay till the end, we'll give you a link here. You'll get a full 30-day free trial for prediction points, completely free. We'll give you the link for that. And we're going to talk about prediction points here today, which is really the most popular offering that we have at Day Trade Like a Pro. We're going to give you free access for 30 days to our private Discord server. This is really the best traders that we have at Day Trade Like a Pro are in the Discord server with us, and we're trading together. They're chatting, they're sharing trade ideas. A lot of times they're sharing ahead of time what they're doing. And it's not to say we're all always taking the same trades. Certainly traders have different approaches that fit their personalities, but this is where our best traders are each day. And so we're going to give you access to that community. I could talk for an hour about how amazing that community is. It's really just a group of traders who are so willing to help other traders. And we have traders who come in, they might be struggling when they get there, or maybe they're not quite where they want to get. And as they really start to figure out their own trading, it really morphs into them helping other traders. So just such a phenomenal group of traders. And again, a number of you are here, so thank you for that. You've really made that community what it is. We're going to be doing 4 free training sessions that we're going to be covering the topics from today a lot more in depth. This is actually something that we're doing for our members, and we thought it would be really cool as a thank you for you guys being here today to have you come and be a part of that. So this is something that is typically reserved for our paid members. We're going to be going deep dive into some of the topics we're going to touch on today. So if nothing else, you got nothing else out of today, which I certainly hope that isn't the case, but you would definitely want to be in those 4 free training sessions and get the training from that. By the way, if I miss anything or somebody asks a question and there's something real important we want to cover, David's going to interrupt me and we'll jump over and we'll do that. So it's more important for us that you get a lot of value out of our time together today than that it looks really smooth or something like that. We really want it to be valuable for you here. So I want to talk about the key criteria for any trading system. So if you're looking out there, and there's a lot of things out there, there's a lot of systems, there's a lot of indicators. If you are looking at, well, what am I going to use for my trading? And, you know, we have traders on the webinar here today, I'm sure, that are from all kinds of different, maybe some of you are making some money, you're not quite where you want to get as far as that goes, you're ready for the next levels. And we might have that to brand new people, and we might have people who are crushing it and just looking for that next edge, the next thing that will take them to that next level. So I'm guessing we have just about everything in here in between that. Anything that you're looking for in your trading, you want to look at these 3 things. Where's the market going? Does it answer that question? If it doesn't answer where's the market going, then for me, it doesn't fit inside of a trading system. That's the number 1 criteria I need to know. Then the next thing I need to know is where can I enter? So where's it going, and then where can I enter it? And then ideally you want to know by when is it going to get to the price that it's going to. And that would be a bonus. I would not say it's necessarily required, but it's definitely would be bonus points for that. Let's talk about the single most important factor in trading any market, and I don't care what you trade. We're going to look at specifically the S&P 500 today. We might look at the NASDAQ 100 a little bit, but any market that you're trading, no matter what it is, what's the most important factor? So price is important. Time is important. Volume's important. But the single most important thing in any market is context. So I'm going to give you an example of the power of context. So pay close attention here and let's see what you make of this next slide, and I'll read it to you. A newspaper is better than a magazine. A seashore is a better place than a street. At first, it is better to run than to walk. You may have to try several times. It takes some skill, but it is easy to learn. Even young children can enjoy it. Once successful, complications are minimal. Birds seldom get too close. Rain, however, soaks in very fast. Too many people doing the same thing can also cause problems. One needs lots of room. If there are no complications, it can be very peaceful. A rock will serve as an anchor. If things break loose from it, however, you will not get a second chance. I'm suspecting that that didn't make a whole lot of sense the first time around. So on the next slide is the same paragraph. Now pay attention and see what you make of it this time. Kite. A newspaper is better than a magazine. A seashore is a better place than a street. At first, it is better to run than to walk. You may have to try several times. It takes some skill, but it is easy to learn. Even young children can enjoy it. Once successful, complications are minimal. Birds seldom get too close. Rain, however, soaks in very fast. Too many people doing the same thing can also cause problems. One needs lots of room. If there are no complications, it can be very peaceful. A rock will serve as an anchor. If things break loose from it, however, you will not get a second chance. We suspect that with the context, the single word at the top of the page, the 14 sentences after made a lot more sense than the first time around. Now let's talk about bringing context to trading. The way most traders try to do this, they use lagging indicators, look at past price action, and the hottest, latest craze right now is order flow, which is still lagging. Because if it's showing up, we talked about this in the last webinar we did here with NinjaTrader, in order flow, there's a number of different things, but if it's showing up on the tape, it already happened. Not saying it isn't useful. I'm just saying it's still lagging. It's happened in the past. And the problem with things that are lagging or things that happened in the past, it's kind of like driving your car, and you're driving down the freeway and you're looking in the rearview mirror and you want to make sure you don't hit any potholes. That's not a really great winning strategy. If you wanted to not hit any potholes, it would be really great to see where the potholes are out in front of you, not looking in the rearview mirror. So most of these methods only are looking back. So let's talk about context in trading. So what if there was a way to predict future price movement before it happens? In 2007, we created a proprietary method for exactly that. We call that method prediction points. So over the years, these have become popular as support and resistance, but they are so much more than that, which we're going to show you here. So prediction points provide a predictive context for the market ahead of time. It gives us a context of what may occur in the market before it happens. They tell us the story of what may happen before it happens. So let's jump over and we're going to look at some charts here. Here we can start with today. So this is today's S&P chart. It's just a really simple 5-minute chart. So let's start with just some of the basics. You should see on my chart strange colored candles from probably what most of you are using. And then you should see two different kinds of horizontal lines. You should see blue lines and you should see white dotted lines. And that's just how I have those colored on there. But what you can see, this is today's market. It covers most of the day. We didn't get the early part of Globex on here, but I want you to be able to see right here. So this covers most of today here on a 5-minute chart. The blue lines are what we call critical prices. For short, we call those CPs. So you'll hear me talk about that. And the white lines are what we call key prices, or we will call those KPs for short. That's typically how we refer to it in the Discord channel. So CPs and KPs. And the general theory of prediction points is that the market moves from blue line to blue line. In other words, from CP to CP. That's how it's going to, that's the general idea behind it. Now, what you can see is that, so there's not all prediction points are created equal, you could say. And I actually happened to pull up the chat and I noticed, so some of you are replying to some of the things which I'm saying. That's really great that you have, if it's working for you and you're killing it, that's fantastic. I think that's really great. I'm not really bashing on any, I see some of the comments and it's great. I'm not bashing on, if you think the dome's the best tool in the entire world, that's fantastic. If that's working for you, I'd say just keep doing that. That's really great. What we're looking at here, prediction points are really either something that you can use in addition to an existing strategy that you have to enhance it, or there's a lot of traders as they go along, they end up, I think, over time just evolving into a point of they just trade with prediction points. So CP is critical price and KP is key price. And again, the foundation of that is the market's going to move from critical price to critical price, from blue line to blue line. Today's chart is actually really great. I'm going to break down what today's chart looks like, and I'm going to explain using this how there's different things that we look for, different characteristics in prediction points, how we use that to forecast what's going to happen. And so I'm going to explain, I'll work through that with you right here. So you can notice right here, we had a critical price at 38.84. And then we had another critical price at 38.51. And we had nothing in between that. Now, there's some advanced techniques that I'm dying to show you, but I'm not going to show you right now. We'll dive into it in the 4-part training that we're going to be doing in the coming weeks, and I'll dive into that. I promise we'll go to that. If I do it now, David's probably going to fire me. So we'll get into that when we do the training more in depth. So the idea is all you really need to know here is what we were looking at coming in. So here's the start of Globex. This is when prediction points become available. We came from this CP up here down to this one. That's what you need to know. I feel like it's important that you understand that sometimes these hold to the tick, and we have a lot of traders who have methods of how they find their own supply and demand or support and resistance areas, and they're using prediction points for the context and for forecasting and for planning their trades, but it doesn't mean they're always entering right at the prediction point. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. So here's the first thing that I'll point out to you is that we had this right here at 38.84 and 38.51. It's quite a big gap down to there. As you can see, what we would expect is that if the market were to break below here, it would come down to here. That would be the target we would be trading towards. So answering the first question, where is the market going? And if the market were to break up above here, we have other targets up here. This one's about 13 points away. So we have these gaps in prices. And there's a couple of things to understand about the gaps, which is the further away a price is from another price. So you have this, if you have this big gap in prices, then you want to be looking at, where's the market going? In this case, we had 38.51 as the first target on the downside today. And then if I'm looking at that, it also makes this 38.84 a relatively important support area, because if we lose this, if this is broken, then it would mean that would open the door for going down to 38.51. So fairly significant. I'm going to bring this back around and tie some of these in together. So I'm going to give you a couple of things here. The other types of things that we look for as far as patterns and prediction points, and you all are familiar with patterns in the market. Well, there's patterns and prediction points. So right here we have a KP and we have a CP. And these are relatively close together. They're about 4 points apart. And in this market, that's fairly close together. So that would be what we would call a cluster. And there's two kinds of clusters, and I'm going to tell you about the two different ones. So when there's two prediction points that are close together, like these two in this case, this would be a cluster. It would actually be consolidation. So that's the one type. Two prediction points is a consolidation cluster. What does that tell us? It tells us that around these two prediction points, the market is likely to consolidate. Now, does that mean it's going to go right in between here? Almost never. That's not normally what we see. We do see that here, but we know that this is a consolidation area. And as you can see, it did turn out to be a consolidation area through here. So we had these two prediction points, and from the open all the way up to when it finally broke, it was basically consolidating around here. These prediction points became available at the beginning of Globex over here and predicted this as a consolidation area. And then you can see what happened.
So one thing I think that's important here is that, so this is, some people call this a range-bound market, right? So it's trading within the range. And the idea is, and the context is that these prediction points are providing prices ahead of time to tell the trader the context of when and where to expect this range-bound market to occur.
That's right.
You're not looking back and saying, oh, that was a range-bound market. This is saying, in the future, tomorrow, this is where we would expect the range-bound market to occur.
Yeah, we're not going, oh, it looks range-bound. Every trader said that at some point. Oh, it looks range-bound, or it looks like it's consolidating. Yes. But when are you finding that out? Because we knew that right here. Right there, we knew, okay, likely that we get some consolidation. Yeah, so Kevin, really great. Good comments. Yes, consolidation would be range-bound. And no volume, but that's insignificant because we already knew, and I'm not expecting you to be comfortable or trusted at this point, having just seen it. But anyone of our members who trades prediction points, pretty much knows, yeah, this is probably going to be a consolidation area. I'm going to stay around in here. Yes, so we're forecasting volatility. Yeah, really great. Good, great comments. Thank you. What happens? So we break down from this area. We break 84. Where are we going? We're breaking out of this range. And traders have a number of methods that they use to, forecast what's happening here. What happens? Here's this CP to 51. Now notice what's happening. We literally just talked about this. So we have a CP at 51 and we have a KP at 48.50. Any takers on what that is? It's the same thing we had up here. It's a consolidation cluster. Now the volatility is way picked up, but look what happens. We spend this time down in here. This CP right here was at 38.44. The low of the day was 3 ticks below that. 38.43 came back up here, came back, checked the CP right there. Where's the market going? Back to the other blue line over to here. Now we talked about that and we're going to talk a little bit. I don't want to get too far down into that, but I want to show you a couple of examples. So this is literally just from today's market, which was kind of gave us a little bit of everything. Here's another example. This is from the 23rd. Here's an example of a gap. And then you can see kind of hangs out down here in this area. So we have from this CP down to this CP. Pretty decent gap down there, 20-something points. Right here, this was, so again, example of a gap. I want to show you another example of a cluster. So here are, now there's another type of cluster. There's consolidation, and that's just 2 prediction points that are close together. Right here, you can see there's actually 4 prediction points that go from 17 to about 10. So 4 prediction points within 7 points, give or take a few ticks. What happens here is this becomes, so as soon as there are 3 or more prediction points in a close range together, that becomes a congestion area, which means, yes, you have a range-bound type of scenario, but there's another point to that, which is congestion zones have what we call checkpoints. And the checkpoint would be the next closest prediction point on the other side of that. So we have right here, we have 17 down to 10. You can see it pretty much, once it trades into this range, it pretty much it range bound into here. When it leaves, it goes right to the checkpoint. So this would be the checkpoint on the one side, checkpoint on the other side. So what happens? First checkpoint, it fails. And then I was just thinking this must have been yesterday because I remember talking about it. Then we were talking about this and we said it needed to get back above the CP here. It did not get above the CP. It failed about 2 ticks short of it. So didn't get back above the CP. It's also important, I think, to note that at some point this plays out, the consolidation or the range, that all plays out at some point, and you kind of move on. So we can see all this trading that happened in here. When it comes back over to here, probably not right back into the same scenario. There was a lot of trading that already happened here. Going to come back through that, bounces back to the top of this range, and then, I mean, from here within, I think that was within 1 tick. So the prediction point, the CP is at 03, it was at 03.25, comes right back up to here. And then ends up dropping, and then this was the low of the day, which if we then, so this was yesterday, and then we'll go in and we'll look at, so let's go look at today. So here's yesterday. So sort of some unfinished business from yesterday, right down here. There's the CP for today. So what happened, obviously we've seen how that played out. We came down here to the CP, ended up holding the KP down here, came back, checked the CP, and then off to the races. There's a question here, and I'm going to answer it because we get a lot of questions about, are they fibs? Are they floor pivots? Are they fill in the blank? No, it's nothing like any of that. You're drawing your fibs after the fact. This is telling you all of this ahead of time. It's definitely not fibs. Although, Fibonacci's can definitely have their place and certainly can be useful, but it's not any of that. Let's talk about, so I want to talk about everybody here. If you're a trader, you've heard the saying, the trend is your friend. So Bill Williams talked a lot about chaos theory in the market. He came up with the his whole approach was about fractals, and he said something really brilliant. He said that momentum always changes sides before price. He was talking about, I mean, a lot of the idea behind his whole method was you were basically more or less playing reversals. So if you look right here at, you have this idea, the trend is your friend. And I'm not saying the trend is not your friend, but you also, what nobody really talks about is that the probability and how important probabilities are. When you talk about the trend being your friend, yes, one of the most, so you could draw in support and resistance. I'm not here to tell you that prediction points are the holy grail or it's the best thing since sliced bread, although I think there are members who would argue that. But what I am saying is that they provide a context. I was a user of prediction points. I bought them, I subscribed to them, and then eventually ended up buying out all the IP, starting day trade like a pro. And what was happening is it really was the original creator. It either became, I'm retiring and I'm either going to sell this to Goldman Sachs or I'm going to sell it to you. Spoiler alert, I bought it, not Goldman Sachs. And so I bought it because I couldn't really imagine trading without this. I've been using it for so many years. I feel like if I look at a chart without prediction points, I'm going, boy, I sure wish I knew where the prediction points were today. So it's just been, to me, it's made a tremendous difference in my trading. So I'm going to talk about probabilities versus the trend. So where today, here's this big move down. Obviously, we've been in a, by anybody looking at an intraday chart, we've been in a downtrend. Yes, I understand that it's just a pullback in the bigger picture and that it's not really a downtrend, but intraday, if you're a day trader, you want to be selling this on the way down over the last few days. So we put in a high, we're down to here. I think we're down over 100 points off the high. Where did this end? Where did the downtrend end? When did the downtrend not become your friend anymore? And I'm sure everybody has their answer of that and whatever you're using to determine that. Or is that the low? Is this a bounce? Should I be selling it? Should I be buying it? What do I do? Well, this provides an incredible context. One of my absolute favorite things about prediction points is this ability that you see how we test it. So they probe through it right here. They test it right here to the tick right there, and then blow through it right there. And then notice that this failed to come back up and test right here. And this morning in our Discord channel, we were talking about how this is very likely to get tested. In other words, the probability of testing that becomes very high. And we even talked about they could come all the way back down to here. The market come all the way here to 44 and still come back and test 84. That's 40 points away. The trend is down. The probability is we're coming back to 84. And anybody that was, I mean, we literally talked about this all morning in our Discord channel about how this was not only possible, but probable that within today or tomorrow, maybe at the longest, we're coming back to retest 84. Why? And how is that different than drawing in your own support and resistance? If you can draw in support and resistance and it comes back like this with that kind of consistency, that's fantastic. You should keep doing that. So what ends up happening? They come here. Remember, this is a bit of a consolidation area, range-bound area. That certainly plays out again here. Conveniently, it's right around lunchtime, Central Time, East Coast time. A little bit of a range-bound scenario, and then next push up goes to the CP up here. A little bit of a probe up above that, and then kind of dies out right there. So probabilities, yes, the trend is down, but notice how when they broke over here to the downside, no retest over here. My experience with this over the last at least decade is that you're not going to break this and get very far without coming back to it and seeing if we can check this and see if this is actually going to hold as resistance again or what that's going to look like. So I'll jump over and I'll give you one of my personal favorite trades that I like on these. Here's the NQ. This is from today. Notice this here, these three prices were close together where the market ended up bottoming out and the range-bound consolidation that happened right in here. And then here was the open, the market pushed up here, pulled back here, came up, it checked this. It had not been back to test it once it broke down, came back, checked this, and then sold off from 828 all the way down to 610. So a couple hundred points from there. And then came all the way back, almost back to the CP again. So there's an example of, this is one of my, you get these on both sides. So you get the, so here's a breakdown and then a retest and then it shorts. And then the other one like this would be right here, you get a break up above the CP, a pullback to it, and then a move back up to here. So if you don't want to try and buy the bottom, there's always a trade like that if you're into something like that. So those are some of the trades that I really like, and especially the further this gets down away from here, the more I like buying for a move back up to here. That's not to say I'm trying to trade reversals, but it is that I want to trade with the probabilities, not so much with the trend. So let's do this. I actually have tomorrow's prediction points loaded here on the chart. This is for, so we're looking at today, but this is tomorrow's prediction points. And here's what we're looking at. I thought we would break this down a little bit. So a couple of things that I'm looking at right here. By the way, at the end here, we'll give you the link where you can go sign up. You will be able to access prediction points and you'll have this and you'll be able to, you could put these on your chart and literally see how we did here on forecasting tomorrow. So I'll just point out a couple of things of what I see. I see this 81 quarter.
Ephraim, just to be clear, what you're doing right now, you have tomorrow's prices, which we have with
Friday
available right now. So Friday's prices available right now, and what you're sharing with the group today at this moment is how you are, what you're looking for based on those prices, the context that those prices are telling you.
Yep. So we're just going to look at what do prediction points say about tomorrow.
Perfect.
That's what we're going to look at.
Great.
And I just start to, so I noticed some immediate things. Obviously, I'm noticing where are the big gaps in prices and where are the, so that's a fairly large gap in there. Where are the prices that are really close together? This area right in here, there's a lot of stuff going on right in here. This is probably an area, I want to talk about how I would trade it because I have my own personal unique way of trading. Each person needs to find that for themselves. This is likely a rangy, choppy, consolidating area. The difference between a range is it's not breaking out higher or breaking down lower. Choppy is you're getting a new high, a new low, a new high, a new low. So this could easily be that kind of rangy, choppy kind of scenario down if it were to come back down into here. We'll just talk about what's on the screen right now, and then we'll talk about big, higher or lower. So there's those. And then I noticed this is untested. So the market has not, actually, if you look, it hasn't been back to test either of these, really hasn't been back to test here, and it hasn't been back to test here. So for me, this is way too close. I wouldn't buy that. But likely the market, I would be incredibly shocked, speechless, if we didn't come back and test this. I'd be really surprised if we didn't come back and test this. So this first one, what's this? 98.75. This is 89 quarter and 87 half. Highly likely from what prediction points are telling us about tomorrow that we're going to come back and test here.
Even that CP, right? And
even that CP for sure.
Hasn't been tested.
Now, some traders would say, well, why not just wait for the CP? Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to come back to the CP. Maybe it only comes to here or it only comes to here. We're generally doing this with pretty small risk. And, as far as we're not giving it a lot of room from the price, maybe a point or two in most market conditions. So if I buy this and I get a little reaction and it doesn't follow through to a new high, I'll take it off and I'll buy it. Maybe I'll buy it here or I'll buy it again down here. and I'll manage each trade separately, individually as its own trade. Below here really starts to open things up, and we have room from 81 all the way down to 56.50. And I guess there's other methods that we use that we would end up getting some prices in here that maybe we would trade or maybe we wouldn't trade. In that case, we might be going short and using them for taking some profit, but I'm not going to talk a lot about that. But this is really kind of already tested. This is really kind of already tested. This to me would be a very, very last chance for holding on for higher. So I'm saying likely we come back and test here. Let's look again a bit lower. You'd have to go really far back, which I would do under normal circumstances. And I would see, have these been retested already? In other words, I don't want it to be, if I can see its support or resistance, that means it's already traded there. This is support. I don't want to trade support. That's not my goal. The chances that the market comes down and double bottoms here, I would bet against that personally. That's not a trade that I'm looking for. So I want to trade where it's not obvious support and resistance. That's not what I'm looking for. So if we were to break down, and if we were to break down below here and say hold below here and couldn't get back up above over here at 05, I'm looking for a move down here. I'm looking for a move to 38.30 at a minimum.
How many points would that target be?
Well, so let's say if we broke 81 and let's say we had a good sell from 81 and came back up and tested it, that would be 81 down to, let's call it 31. So about 50 points from there, right? That would be kind of an ideal scenario. If we break down below here, let's say we break down, we kind of stall out here and come back up, and I can get short at 56. There's 26, 25 points, something like that. So there you have a little bit of what's there on the other side. We talked about today in our Discord channel that the market, when it came down here, we said that was probably the low of the day and the market would probably try and shake that off, and we had all this other stuff back up here. What I see is that there's not a lot of room. So we have 05 and then we have up to 11 quarter and then we have 13 quarter. So there's a lot going on right here. You notice how these are relatively close together right here. There's not a whole lot of room. So I probably don't want to, we're talking about forecasting things and planning trades. I probably don't want to go crazy. I probably don't want to bet the farm on anything right here in this area. There's not a whole lot of room. Where are we going? We're going from there to there. It's just not a huge target. I maybe, if I'm really lucky, I might get a 3-to-1 risk to reward on a trade like that. I really want 5-to-1 or better. So for me, not really I don't want to go crazy in this area. Down here, it starts to get more interesting. I start to get more room. Now from here, you can see up above 13 quarter. If we break up above there, we've got this congestion zone up here, back up around this 28. And if we go back, let's just go back and look at this from, you can see there's been a bit of trading that's already gone on here. So there's a chance this congestion zone has already played out. And, you know, we could, and part of it depends on when it happens in the day. If it happens at like 5 minutes before the close tomorrow, again, probably don't want to go crazy. The context matters. If we were to break up above that, room for, I think that would be a new high.
I think people are waiting to learn how to check
Oh, great.
out.
So let's move on to that. Here's how you can go sign up for prediction points. They're available for the following markets and the micro components of these markets. So the ES, NQ, RTY, GC, CL, and YM. They work on anything, and we're in the process of automating the process for you to be able to access them for whatever you'd like. They, of course, work on the micros, as I've said. They can be used standalone. They can be used to enhance what you're already doing. If you have questions, please email us support@daytradelikeapro.com, and somebody will get back with you about that. So here's the offer. You can try it for free. So you can try it for free. Here's the deal. To prevent people from taking unlimited free trials, we ask you to put in your credit card. We are not going to charge you. We're not going to bill you anything, but it keeps it so that we don't have people take 100 free trials, okay?
And we send you multiple emails in advance of
yes. You could never say you didn't know you were going to get rebilled. You would get rebilled in 30 days. If you wanted to cancel it, it takes about 15 seconds. Maybe it takes that long. Might not even take that long, okay? And we're going to let you know way in advance before we bill anything. So I want you to be aware of that. We think that what we're giving away here is worth definitely what you're going to pay for it, which is nothing. So you're going to get a free month of prediction points, and then we have an offering that we call the live trade signals. When you go through the process to get prediction points, you can try that out for it's 70% off for your first month. You can do that. You can not do that, and whatever you want to do with it. We have the results posted for the live trade signals at daytradelikeapro.com/results. We show you every trade, every signal that we've given over the last, I think it's been about 6 months since we started it, the time of that, when the signal was given, when it filled, and then the result of that. And you can see all of that there. You're welcome to go look through all of that. You can go check that out. If you think that sounds like something that's a fit for you, then you can add that onto your free trial. So yes, we're going to let you try prediction points, but we also really want to give you the entire community here. And the community is one of, I would say equally as valuable as prediction points. We also have 2 different detailed trainings that go way more in depth on some of the things that I've talked with you about here. We talk about trade strategies, how to actually trade around prediction points. So you get all of that. You get access to, yes, it's
videos.
Yeah, yep. It's a great training. I did some of it. The original creator has done some of it. Really phenomenal training in there. You'll get access to that. The members only chat room. I don't know what else I could say about this other than this is the best group of traders I've ever had the privilege of being around. And to be able to trade side by side with them and chat with them and ask my questions. And I mean, David and I were talking earlier, and he said that he usually puts it that especially a lot of the advanced traders in the group will trip over themselves and each other to answer questions. I mean, it's like you ask a question, everybody is there answering it. So lots of really valuable input from members and being able to network and associate with other successful traders. And then we're going to do 4 live 60-minute training sessions. So it's today, but we're going to go super in depth on the different topics, and we're going to look at real markets, and we're going to look at that day. We're going to break things down. You'll be able to talk and ask questions. That will be worth all the money by itself just from that. And then you can try the live trade signals. That's $147 on the thank you page after you sign up for the free trial. So with that, yeah, and so like Miguel just said in the chat there, Miguel is one of our newer members, and he has been a great contribution to the community. And I think that, I mean, anybody who's a part of the community would attest to what I'm saying, that it's just a phenomenal group of traders.
Read Miguel's comment. It only came into the panel.
Oh, great,
great. He says, yes, it really is. Anything I ask the group, I receive valuable input from multiple perspectives. And yep. Miguel's been with us for a couple of months now.
Yeah. So it's just the access to the members and the Discord channel, what's available there. So first of all, thank you for being here with us, and hopefully you got value here out of today. The real value would be to come try the community out, be here with us for 30 days, take the free training on prediction points, and see if it's something that enhances or adds something to your training. I can't promise it's for everybody, but we're really not looking for everybody. We just want the people who really want to go to that next level, that are wherever they are, ready to go to being a professional trader. So if that's you, or you think that's you, there's really nothing to lose here. So come check it out, see if it's a good fit. If it's not, thank you for trying it. If it is, welcome home. With that, David, are there any questions that we didn't answer? Is there anything that we...
No specific questions. I would say if there's any questions that come up, definitely post them in the chat. One thing I also want to say about the 4 live training sessions, our goal is at the end of the 30 days is that you have a pretty comprehensive understanding of prediction points and how it can support your trading. And that's the goal of those 4 live training sessions. So it is going to be in-depth, involved, and all the training sessions will be recorded, and you'll have access to them as well. So, come sign up, try it out for 30 days, see if it's a fit for you, and we hope to see you in the room.
Yeah, so there's a question here from the YouTube channel, and the question is, does it work in the after hours sessions? Yes. I mean, it absolutely, I live in Southern California, and I often feel like I'm in my office around 6 o'clock in the morning, my time, which is 30 minutes before the open. And I often feel like some of the best opportunities already happened. So yes, it absolutely works in Globex. I mean, that really depends on how the market's moving during that time. But yes, it absolutely, it does work in Globex.
Questions, is it text or voice chat? So it is predominantly through Discord text, but there are voice channels as well where traders get on and chat and go through things. So there's multiple options, whether it's voice or text.
Yeah, absolutely. We have rooms open where you can hop on with other traders and you can talk. You can be on voice if you want. What we found is a lot of pro traders, they want as few distractions as possible. There's a question about how many contracts some of the professional traders are trading. I mean, we're not looking over their shoulder and watching them as they trade. We just want to be cautious and honoring any kind of, you're welcome to come ask those questions in the Discord channel. And I mean, at times we have members who've, shared what they're doing or how many contracts they're in or what, kind of money they might be making or losing on any kind of particular trade. And I would say it ranges from, we have anything from people trading micros to, we have traders who will put on relatively big size. I'd say you're semi-pro at 15 lots and you're pro at 30 lots, something like that. There's a question about, there will be a indicator that will automatically plot the prediction points onto your chart. That is in the final development stages. We were hoping to have it done here by the training here with NinjaTrader. It will be done here very shortly. For now, we have a fairly simple process for you. If you're using NinjaTrader, we have a fairly simple process for you to put the prices onto your chart. It takes about 30 seconds. But in the future, for NinjaTrader specifically, we will be building an indicator that will plot the prices automatically. You won't have to do anything. Forex and crypto are in the works. It's coming. Right now, we're predominantly in the futures markets that we discussed earlier. Rob asked if we could talk about the live trade signals. So the live trade signals is really me posting in a Discord channel called the Live Trade Signals. It says Get Signals. I should stress that it's for entertainment purposes only. You should not make trading decisions based on things that are meant for entertainment or for educational purposes, and any trades you make are your own, you're doing so at your own discretion. But we'll post a price that either says buying or selling, an exact price to the tick, usually 2 targets, and then a place where we put the stop loss. And those are given generally as a criteria. We usually say at a minimum it needs to be 60 seconds in advance of when the trade would fill. And generally it's way, way longer than that. And then
30 to 45 minutes to hour.
Yeah. On average, I'm sure it's, yes, 30 minutes or something in advance. So plenty of time there. Yeah, so that's the live trade signals. That's how that works. So we are posting. You're welcome to go check out the results. It's the most difficult thing I've ever personally done, more difficult than trading, in my opinion.
What I would say about live trade signals is that it is, so the best person to trade with prediction points is Ephraim, hands down. He's been trading it for years and years. And what he does is he basically, in the context of prediction points, he identifies the highest probability trades of the day, where there's, you have low risk entries and the right risk reward for those trades. And
sometimes I'm just dead wrong.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Today we actually sold really close to the top, and then I said, let's move it to break even. And then it dropped like 40 points after that. So, it happens. That'll happen at times. There's a lot of questions about platforms. We love NinjaTrader. Almost all of our traders use NinjaTrader. what we're talking about specifically with prediction points and with the live trade signals, you can use any platform. But I mean, we love NinjaTrader. Everything else that we have, all of our tools in our Pro suite, they only are built for NinjaTrader. But for this specifically, you could use any platform technically. That's I think we're at our time. And again, I want to honor NinjaTrader's time, your guys' time. If you have other questions, please email support@daytradelikeapro.com. We'll see you inside of the Discord community. It'll be great to have you there. And you can also ask questions in there. And we look forward to having you there. And with that, we will turn it back over to NinjaTrader. And again, thank you for having us and thank you for being here.
All right. And I would like to give a special thank you to Ephraim and David of Day Trade Like a Pro for a great presentation today. Everyone in attendance will receive an on-demand recording of today's event, so please keep an eye out for that email. We would like to remind you that the information today provided in this was that of Day Trade Like a Pro and not of NinjaTrader. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us here at NinjaTrader Ecosystem.